Hi there, it's Jane Birkinshaw from Love Your Lens here to talk to you about last week's challenge, hashtag blue, for the weekly photographic challenge, Live, Shoot, Love. So a lot of really nice submissions again. It starts off slowly and then they all start to pour in, and I often don't get to see a lot of them until today when I start going through them all in detail. So apologies if you posted sort of 4 days ago and it's only today that I've posted a comment or a like or something about them. With so many strong images, I think it's helpful to you if you understand what makes me pick a particular image or set of images out to talk about, and then eventually for one of them to be my favourite, which is of course very subjective. I try to be objective, but of course I'm a human being with preferences, likes, personal kind of things that will always appeal to me in photography. So it's always going to be a little bit personal. So, take it not with a pinch of salt exactly, but do bear that in mind. So what I've looked for this week is that the colour blue forms a very strong element in the shot. It's not just a backdrop against which the subject sits. So, that was something that I really was looking out for and very conscious of. Of course, the basics have got to be right. The picture's got to be sharply in focus. The subject has got to be sharply in focus. It's got to be well composed. It's got to be, potentially it might be nice light. It might be average light but a great subject, or the compelling thing about it might be that it's, there's some really special light going on. If the subject makes a connection with you or tells a story, that's always going to make it a stronger picture. And something else that's just completely gone out of my head, and I hope I'll come back to it in a second as I go through the images. Sometimes it's just a really good spot as well, that you've spotted something that makes a really nice photograph, and there's quite a lot of that going on this week. Yes, I've just remembered what it was I'd forgotten, that it's been edited sympathetically or in keeping with what you're trying to convey to the beholder of the image. So let's go through. This week what I've done is attributed the picture that's the person that's taken the picture at the bottom there, so you can quite clearly see it and I won't get any muddled up like I usually do. So as usual, I've picked out a number of pictures that particularly struck me. So the first one is this one by Eric, a really crisp shot of the moon in daytime with a lovely blue sky. And there's an element of blue and lavender and stuff going on in the moon as well. So good shot there, Eric. And then moving on to this one by David Riley that I believe was shot somewhere in New Zealand. The blues in this, the different shades of blue are absolutely gorgeous, and a really nice capture by David. I think the only reason I didn't go into one of my absolute favourites or the favourite of the week is because as such there's no subject. There's no focal point, and I know it could perhaps be argued that this is one of those pictures that it's just all about the merging of the colours and the feel that image gives you. So I think that's very up for debate as to whether this type of picture needs a subject or not. I'll leave that one with you. Then there's a little series of pictures here of, so one of them by Eric Payton, of just a good spot that he's found, representing the colour blue, tells a story, it's interesting, makes you question where it is, and there's a lot of different blues going on there. Obviously the predominant one is these blue plastic chairs, and then you've got the blues going on in the jug and the wall, and the basket down here, and it just kind of tells a story about where he is, that this is somebody's cafe, very different to the cafes that we're used to, and it tells a good story. And then another kind of found situation or subject. This is by Liz Kenny, and it's a wall I've passed many times in Warrington, and she's absolutely right. There's a lot of strong blue going on there in the image itself, telling the story of Warrington, and some good blue in the sky. So it's just a nicely framed, nice spot for the theme. And then we've got, was that Liz Kenny? Yeah, so this one by Liz Kenny as well. Again, a nice find, a very old VW van with a lot of interest in the blue on the panelling. The age of the van is its story. Animal, well, maybe it was once. I think it's a bit of a jaded old animal now. But again, you know, nothing kind of really clever about this image, but just a good find. Okay. And a similar story here where Paula Chatterton, amongst all of these rusty coloured locks, has spotted one that is blue, and the blue is the focal point of the photograph, and it works. The blue colour works really well with the rust as well. Potentially, I might have cropped this just down here just to get rid of that distraction there. Okay. Then another image by Eric. I'm going to show my ignorance now. Is it a heron? I don't know. Correct me, Eric, later. But again, this could be described as a blue heron against a pale blue background. The predominant feel of the image is cool blues and greys, and it's very crisp and clear. I think he's been having fun with a lens that he's got, and it's a really good shot. So, and then we come on to a couple of butterflies by different people. Well, but actually, sorry, by Jill Shaw. This one's not quite sharp, which is a shame, but I'm sure you know that, Jill. But there's some lovely colours going on within that. It just shows how much beautiful colour there is just in nature alone, and these next few shots really show that. Very unusual moth or butterfly here. Again, just a little bit pixelated or something there. It's either been heavily cropped or the resolution isn't great that's being posted on Facebook. And if people need some help on resolution and how to post to Facebook, then we can cover that sometime. And yep, Jill Shaw, again, nothing wrong with resolution here. Really nice blue flower captured here. And just another nice find where blue is the subject of the photograph. We've even got blue stamen going on there, which I guess is quite unusual. I don't think you see that very often. And then Kath Booton, lavender. It's that time of year, isn't it, when we see a lot of lavender around. Again, my screen blows up these images extremely large, actually, and I think this is the problem here, Kath. If you look at these figures at the bottom, you've got a lot of pixels and a very low KB here. So when you've made this image smaller, it's really wrecked the resolution. Okay, then another really nice one by Kath. A lot of detail here with a lovely bee on this blue flower. Okay, it's probably an allium. Okay, and then this shot by Emma Hayes. I really quite liked this. It's very simple, lovely strong splash of blue in the flower, and it's really the background that makes this work for me, because the blue is allowed to stand out really well against the clean white background. Usually sunshine doesn't work particularly well in flower shots, but here I feel that the lighting isn't too harsh. It's not too bright here and too dark here. I think you've just got away with that, and it makes for a nice strong shot. Now, I don't normally do this, but this week I feel tempted to name a favourite photographer of the week, and I'm going to, and it's Farhat. Farhat has submitted quite a lot of images this week on the theme of blue. I think it must definitely be a favourite colour of hers. And she's done a lot of experimenting. So you can see here, this is a I think it's a multi-exposure, whether it's 2 or more, I don't know. She's done a lot of playing around with editing, and this is, I mean, you could imagine this as a poster or an album cover or something. Works really, really well, very strong. And she submitted some blue birds and quite a few other images, and a lot of them were really good images. So well done, Farhat. The next one is yours as well. Very typical Greek travel image here, but blue, you know, she's really captured that here. And you know, another really strong shot for the theme. So Farhat, you're my favourite photographer of the week, but my favourite image, and again, I know it's potentially subjective rather than objective, but I think that's the only way I'm capable of judging this. And I really like this image by Carol Ingleby. I love the blues in the sky, in the water, and I really like the simple composition where she's got a point of focus. It's this little guy down here. He gives a sense of scale. It tells a story. He's out there on his own, and he's enjoying just being him and nothing else, and just enjoying a spot of fishing on a beautiful day. And kind of like the world is your oyster. So well done for that, Carol. As I did last week, and it seemed to go down quite well, I've made a little collage of all of those shots that I picked out. And again, I think some of you really liked this, and I do too, where it just really kind of brings together the strength and standard of the work that's being submitted into one quite strong collection of images. So well done. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody's shots on the theme of It Begins with A for next week, and please take a look at the email that's come out to you for those of you who've signed up, because there's a little video there on handling exposure using the exposure compensation button. So have a great week. Hope the sunshine is going to return and be good to us, and I look forward to seeing you all again next week. Bye bye.